Hi, I'm Tane.
And I'm Aid, and this is Altar Call, a Married at First Sight podcast.
Hi, lovely people. Welcome to another off season episode. We still don't have any maths dates, so we are continuing to do non maths episodes. Hi, Aid. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am well. Um, Good to have you back. We had Nana again last week. And I wanted to tell her what you said that you always so jealous, and one day we should all three record something. One day it'll happen, but I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
What's been going on?
Not much. Just so that everybody knows the closeout of the story of, basic utilities after a hurricane. I'm sure most people are like, wasn't a hurricane a long time ago? It sure was. Actually, it sure was. But the after effects are still being felt. So I never did get my internet back. So I finally gave up, switched internet companies. Today is actually the first day I've had internet at my house since July 7th.
That's insane. But
Uh,
you know what I was thinking? You know that thing where they said, like, if XYZ has only 10 fans, then it's me. If someone has 5 fans, it's me. If it's just one, I'm the person. If a hurricane happens in Houston and only 10 people don't have electricity, 8 would be one of them. I don't understand your luck when it comes to these things. Like, I'll talk to all my people that are there, be like, "Oh no, we're fine, we're good." I don't even have to check with you. I almost 99.9 know that you don't have electricity
or internet. Internet is
or
a good one.
internet. Wow. But I'm
Uh,
glad it's all sorted out, and let's pray to the hurricane gods that they give you a break, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, I just realized I keep forgetting. We haven't told the people what we're talking about. This week's episode is going to be the man with 1,000 kids. And we will get there. And before we get there, Aid would like to share some updates upcoming on the pod.
So because Maps hasn't announced a due date back, y'all are gonna get a treat in that we're gonna do Love Is Blind UK, which starts on August 7th. We will be covering that right here on the regular feed. And then we will have the 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Tell All. We will be doing that on Patreon. So look out for that on Patreon after the second Tell All episode. Don't forget to listen to Nana and Tane discuss Love Island. They did a whole series, so you can go back to our feed and go through and listen to the 4 episodes that y'all did.
I think it's 3.
Okay, 3 episodes that
Yeah.
they did on Love Island US. But watch out. Apparently, Tane says there's a reunion. Who knows what might happen?
Yeah. A lot has happened like since they left, but I don't know when they're going to film, but I know Ariana said it's dropping on Peacock on the 19th. So I just don't know when they're actually filming. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited, and we will definitely talk about that when that happens. So, yeah. Okay. Um Something I wanted to talk about is a lot of you have messaged about the royal rules of Ohio. I want to say think because I always get confused on what we talked about here or what we talked about between ourselves. But we mentioned that we both try to give that show a try. I think I watched up to 4 episodes and I just couldn't do it anymore, y'all. Like, it's just not a good show.
I couldn't make it through one. I think I finished the one episode, but it was rough. And I was ready to like it, of course. I thought
Yeah.
Ohio was such an interesting place to set a reality TV show. I mean, I love the fact that they were Ghanaian and they were, I was ready to support. My cousin texted me about it, but the storylines were not there. Everything felt tired and old.
Everything felt forced. Here's a pet peeve of mine: whether it's books, whether it's movie, TV, any art that's like African art that feels like they're trying to cater to a certain demographic. I don't like that because it feels like you're kind of losing the essence of your culture to make things easier. Completely understand that you have to make it easier for the audience, and maybe it's the right way, and maybe we have a window or insight, so we view it differently. Like, it just seems so over the top. We all know, like we say all the time, in every confessional of that show, they wore traditional garb or traditional attire. That's not to say that you don't do it, but in everyday, like, normal world, like, you don't encounter like Africans every single day. Wherever they go, they're wearing traditional wear. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but it just seems like they were putting on, and then it was all like matching attire everywhere that they went. They had all of the tropes, the judgmental auntie, the getting married, the saying things like, "Oh, what are you going to do in your husband's house if you don't know how to cook? You need to know how to do that." Again, not to say that those things don't happen, but you could tell like they made a list of all the things that are the stereotypes, and then they just try to cram it into the season, and it just really felt forced and not natural, and I just couldn't do it. At some point when she confronted her cousin at a shower or something that they were doing where they were spraying gold in the air, I cringed so hard. I couldn't do it anymore. So, yes, guys, that's why we do not cover that, because we do not watch it. But if you
And
do
it is
like it, though,
on,
oh,
was it
sorry.
on Amazon Prime?
No, it's on Freeform, but everything on Freeform you can watch on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah. But honestly, I am curious though. If you do watch and you enjoy the show, I let us know. Let us know what it is that you like about it and what areas that you find. Because, like I said, it could be a thing of having a different viewpoint, and so maybe we watch it differently. You know.
I would, yes, I would be very curious to hear what everybody else thought of it, what they enjoyed about it. And also, if you're not Ghanaian or Nigerian or African and you watched it and you liked it, please let us know. Because I do feel like maybe we're just not the target audience. What else are we watching or not watching?
I'm surprised you haven't. We didn't even start the episode with the Olympics. That's all you. I mean, I'm
That's true.
excited, but that is you.
I was traveling, okay? I was traveling. And first off, I could not access anything in Canada. So I was in Canada. And then when I got back to the US, for the second half of my trip, I stayed up all night watching gymnastics because of the time difference. Thankfully, the person who I was sharing a hotel room with was like, it's fine, you can watch, I'll just sleep. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to watch it live. So I've watched almost all the gymnastics live. Things are going very well for the United States, for Simone Biles, for the Brazilians, for everybody, for the men, for the US men. It's just so exciting. Like, it's such a short period of time, and I'm so sad when it's over, but it's just good to watch people do well. And yeah, I love the Olympics.
Same, same, same. The beauty of working from home is like you can sneak time aside, and I've been able to catch them also live. And the gymnastics has been so much fun to watch. I know you said the Brazilians. I was so glad that they medaled today, but I thought they went through it today.
Flavia,
And
so first off, I've been a fan of the Brazilians since the Rio Olympics because it was their home Olympics.
Mhm.
They didn't win any medals, but they were heavily featured, and that's where I got to be like, oh, Rebecca, Flavia, Jade. Like, I love all of them. Um, I mean, Flavia, I have watched this girl go to 3 Olympics. She is so good. She doesn't always come through at the appropriate times. Today she's doing the warm up and she like it looked like she knocked herself out. I don't know if you saw that.
I
But in the
that's what I mean by they were going through it today. She gave herself a black eye, and to the point where she had to have
she was
um
bleeding.
yeah, and then the beam also. It was yeah, they went through it. So I was happy for them that they medaled.
I was hoping I don't care about Italy. Um I'm not as big a fan of their team. I don't know why they haven't captured my imagination. So I was rooting so hard for Great Britain, Canada, and Brazil, and all of them were fighting for that bronze medal. And I was like, is there any way like y'all can knock Italy out of the medals, but they didn't. There is so Flavia is a three-time Olympian who has no Olympic medals. Finally got hers today. Uh, Ellie Black from Canada, four-time Olympian, still has no Olympic medals. I'm hoping she gets one this Olympics. And
Mm,
then Becky Downey, my girl from Great Britain, three-time Olympian, unusual journey. Like she made the 2008 Olympics, she didn't make the 2012 Olympics. She made the 2016 Olympics, she didn't make the 2021 Olympics. Made this Olympics. Three like her brother died suddenly right before the last Olympics. I am rooting so hard. I want her to have an Olympic medal so bad. And it didn't
yeah.
happen today, but she's got one more opportunity. But I just want I want Becky Downey, Ellie Black, and Flavia to leave these Olympics with a medal. So to me it's like one down, two to go.
Yes. Yeah, it's so intoxicating and just all that work and when they triumph, it's like you triumph with them and it's just great to watch. And a special shout out to Lori Hernandez, who was a commentator. She's pretty good.
You know, Tane, I love you saying this so much. On Reddit, the gymnastics people have been so hateful about Lori. And every time they're always hateful about commentators though. Like hating on commentators is like all we do as gymnastics fans. And I think part of it is because gymnastics fans are always complaining because the commentators are not for us who know anything. The commentators are for the people who watch gymnastics every 4 years or have never watched it before, and they talk as if they are speaking to people who don't watch gymnastics like we do. So when you, as a non-gymnastics watcher, is like, I like Lori, I'm like, yes, because Lori is for your audience, just not for us. People need to stop complaining. And I like Lori. I don't care what she says. I just love her. I'm like, say whatever you want.
No, I think that she's pretty good because she gives insight. If there's even one criticism, I actually want to say that she's actually maybe a little too nice because you can tell like she doesn't want to say anything offensive, but I don't think that is unique to her. Everyone's scared to say anything these days. So if she says something and then Simone Biles doesn't really do well and she's like, oh, that's not really like her strongest, whatever. She's like, I mean, not that she's not great. I mean, she's great at everything. I was like, you don't have to give a caveat, girl. We know what
I
you
will.
mean. Like, say it with your chest, but
I know exactly what you're talking about. She was talking about Simone doing bars. It's very hard to describe Simone doing bars because you're like, it's her worst event. She's still better than most people at it, and she's not the best person on the US team. So
yeah,
poor Lori is trying to just sort of say, like, she's good at this, but she's not good at this as she is other things. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, it's been fun to watch. I can't wait for track. That's going to be exciting
I
for
like watching
me.
track. I just don't want to watch heats. If a medal is not on the line, I don't want to see the race. That's my issue with swimming and track. I'm like, why do we have to? They'll be like, here's another race where there's no medal on the line. I'm like, but I don't want to see this.
Yeah. What did you think of the opening ceremony? Where did you lie? Was it?
I didn't get to watch the opening ceremony. I cannot
Oh,
tell you. I mean, I think the last time I did not watch an Olympic opening ceremony was like 1996 or something. But yeah, I can't believe I was traveling during the Olympics and I haven't had the chance to watch the opening ceremony. And I'm not sure if
oh,
I'm going to go back and watch it either.
okay.
Oh, what
Yeah.
did you think of Nigeria's? I did see outfits though. What did you think of Nigeria's outfits?
Let's rewind. I mean, I want to say what I felt about the opening ceremony. I feel like I'm on the side of people who just thought it was all over the place. I think Nana actually described it best when she said it was chaotic. And yes, everyone keeps saying this is the French, this is how they operate, this is all well and true and good, but it doesn't mean that there's still not going to be opinions. And the rain did not help at all. Like it was just raining, and rain just makes everything like 10 times worse. But for me, it was just like, I just think it wasn't cohesive. Yes, they were trying to show, their town and the city, their country and showcase, and they went from art and they went to this. So I just thought it was very divisive. Half the people just thought, oh my God, this is the most genius thing ever. Being in a stadium is so boring, and half the other people were like me, where I was just like, what the heck is going on? It just seems like trying too hard. You know when someone is trying so hard to be different? Oh, Amelia and Bennett. That's exactly what it was. Like they made that their whole like personality. In some ways, it's like, oh, this is cute, but for the most part, it's like, all right, we get it. That's how I felt. Um, to answer your question, the next thing that pissed me off was so they had this whole thing and they had the commentators and all the countries were coming in on the boat, which that part I kind of liked. If I was on there, I would be so seasick. I wouldn't make it. And it's cool because each country comes in and at the bottom they say how many athletes they're representing. So I noticed that earlier Ghana had like nine. That was very surprising to me. I just did not expect that Ghana had just nine athletes. So I was trying to do a comparison like what do other African countries, how many people, whatever. Come Nigeria's time, aid, they do a split screen and they start interviewing Noah Lyles. I get it, star, and it's for the U.S. audience. And then it should have ended a while back, but Maria still keeps asking him and to show us his nails and all that stuff. So we are looking at Noah Lyles' nails as Nigeria's boat is going by. I have no idea how many athletes we have. I could not even see what our outfits look like because remember it was raining, and for some reason they didn't want to wipe the camera lens, so it was just like blurry. It was just that really pissed me off. I get it. It's we're in the US and we're focusing on the US athletes, but I was literally there waiting for all of the countries. We got to end and we were muted and that was it. So that yeah, I wasn't happy.
So I got to see visuals from the opening ceremony, of course. And
Hmm.
something that actually annoyed me with the whole boat thing is I felt like we couldn't see everybody's outfit from head to toe like we can
Yeah.
when they're in a stadium because of the boat situation. And I didn't like it. I,
Yeah.
I want to see flags and I want to see outfits. Okay.
Yeah. I agree because someone like Liberia's, I loved Liberia's outfit, and it was designed by Telfar, and it would have been nice to see that from head to toe. Something as detailed as like the neckline was in the shape of the continent of Africa. Chef's kiss, but you only see what you can. But it was good.
I don't know.
It's,
I mean, because I've never been in this position before, I'm like, am I going to watch the replay for the opening ceremonies? We shall see. The problem with not having had internet for a while is I am behind on so much because it was internet and TV people. So much television and traveling. I have so much to catch up on. I don't know, and I don't know if it's not in the moment, like it's not in the moment, you know?
yeah, I completely understand.
But anyway, I love the Olympics. Like you, working from home, it's really, really helpful in the quest to not miss anything live. And then part of me is like, I'm gonna watch it live, and then later on, I'm gonna watch the replay in prime time. Just
I did that on, was it yesterday? I did that the other day, sometime or whatever, and I was like, what am I doing? I already know how this turns out. I know how the men's gymnastics turns out, but it is just such a joy to watch. Why did I blank? Frederick?
yes.
And it's like I would watch him again. I will watch the whole team again. I'll watch Judah again. Like it's fine. So I just rewatched the whole thing all over again because just hearing them say "Let's go," it's just and knowing how it turns out is also easier. I'm a squeamish person, so I'm the one cringing every time they do their stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my god, are you gonna stick the landing?" So yeah, it's exciting.
And lots more gymnastics to go. Lots
Hmm.
more. Okay,
All right.
so I hope you guys are enjoying the Olympics, and please feel free to let us know your thoughts on the Olympics. We want to hear your guys' thoughts on everything, actually.
All the
Um,
time. Yes, and you know what? This is a shameless plug. I get it that we're not covering maps, but we really do like interacting with you guys. So, comments, thoughts, let us know. Let us know. Like, we want to hear, and we like talking to you guys too. So, you know, until maps comes back.
what else are you watching?
Well, Love Island UK just ended, and we got our first black winners in 11 seasons. And I can't believe it. One half is Josh, who's Nigerian, and the other half is Mimi. Oh God, I want to say Uganda. She's Ugandan. She is gorgeous. Like I don't even know how to describe. Like they had like one of the challenges where they asked who's the hottest couple, and they were voted the hottest couple by the public. Like they're just good together. She went through it with another guy, another Nigerian guy, Ayo, and she came out the other side, and now she's the winner. And it was just so exciting to see and so fun to see because even when they announced it, he didn't move. Josh was like, what? Because they you just could never. I think we also mentioned Nana and I mentioned it when we were like, oh, Love Island USA, we've had a couple of winners. They're we're black or whatever, no biggie, and we were like the UK would never. So we were already like ready for like a fourth place and all that kind of stuff. So to even see that they made final two, we're like, huh? And then when they were announced the winners, even the host, I don't think she could even help herself. So that was exciting to see for me.
I remember you and Nana saying they'll never have a black winner in UK.
Yeah,
And they heard you.
yeah.
They heard you.
I almost feel like I should have said a spoiler alert because I don't know. It's showing on Hulu here, but I think they're behind. So, oops. But I think that's it for me. I'm sure I'm watching something. Oh, I am watching a Japanese reality show called The Boyfriend. If for anyone who ever watched Terrace House, it's a Japanese reality show where they put them in a house together. The goal really is to get a love interest out of it, but they don't explicitly say that. It's more to get the culture, experience life, and just figure your way out. Most of them are young in their 20s, and they had to cancel it because one of the housemates committed suicide because the bullying is a lot over in that side of the world, and they canceled it, which was unfortunate because it was just really fun. And I watched it with a friend of mine. We watched it together. So she told me, "You have to watch The Boyfriend," and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do this again." And Japanese reality shows are different in that they have commentators. Like they have people on the show who comments, like they're watching the show, and we're watching them watch the show and comment on it.
I'm so
And it
confused.
no, it doesn't
Like a
sound as
sports
tedious.
broadcaster?
Yes, it doesn't sound as tedious as it sounds as I'm saying it. It actually adds to the show, but it's they don't stay on too long where it interrupts the show.
Is
So
it an overhead voice or like a person
no,
sitting there watching the
no,
action?
no. We see them in the studio with their headphones, watching and commenting in real time. So it's very different. But the good thing about The Boyfriend is that it's just 10 episodes. Terrace House used to be like so long. At some point, they tried to do a US version. They have one in Hawaii, still all in Japanese, but they had one in Hawaii. But The Boyfriend is actually an all gay cast, all men, and they're just supposed to kind of find love in there. And because the culture is different, the way they interact is different, communication is different, it's very interesting to see because it's very like so different from America. So it's a fascinating thing. It's everything I should not like because I'm not like a romance girly or anything, but I'm into it. So that's what I've been watching, and it ends. It's done now. It's all 10 episodes, and it's all been done. They were dropping episodes every Tuesday. So yeah, that's about the highlight of what I'm watching.
Okay. So, like we said, we'll be covering Love is Blind UK. Speaking of Love is Blind, I was at a concert this past week, and Chelsea and Kwame from Love is Blind were there, but I did not know until after the event was over. And like, it was a pretty big event, but I feel like if I would have looked for them, if I had known they were there, I could have found them, but I didn't even know to look for them until after it was over. They say time waits for no one, and neither should payday. To keep your money moving in the direction of your dreams, get Earn In. Earn In is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earn In app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. You can use the money you get from EarnIn to make sure you have your spending money ready for your fun spring break trips to the beach.
Make Earn In a part of your financial routine and join Earn In's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earn In, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download Earn In today. That's spelled EARNIN in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earn In app, type in Alto Call on the podcast because when you sign up, it'll really help the show. That's Alto Call on the podcast. Subject to available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. EarnIn is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Whether you're going through menopause, perimenopause, or just hate that vicious week before your period when you have those terrible cravings and can't seem to find comfort in your body, then you have to try Hormone Harmony. Happy Mammoth, the company that created Hormone Harmony, is dedicated to making women's lives easier by helping you maintain optimal hormone levels. That means using only science backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and it shows. Hormone Harmony contains herbal extracts called adaptogens that help the body adapt to any stressors, which includes chaotic hormonal changes that happen naturally throughout a woman's life. With over 17,000 reviews, join the women who keep mentioning how the biggest benefit of taking Hormone Harmony is feeling like themselves again. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com by using the code AltocallMAFS at checkout. That's ALTARCALLMAFS.
Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then, when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new to you styles. I had a birthday party last week, and Armoire came through with a dress that none of my friends had seen before.
Guys, did we also mention that the style quiz was so easy? It really was 5 minutes, and you can find all the styles that you're looking for. Also, it is women founded and women led. They even spotlight women owned designers on their website. Right now, our listeners can give Amora a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit amor.style/autocallmaths. That is amor.style, ARMOIRE.style/ALTARCALLMAFS to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try more today.
And the event, sorry, I should have said the event. It was Blast Fest, a lovely Afrobeats music festival in Seattle. It's amazing. But, anyways, apparently Chelsea and Kwame thought so too. So, guys, we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back to talk about the Netflix documentary, The Man with a Thousand Kids. All right, and we're back. Tane, what did you think of this documentary?
I don't know if it's the fact that we're watching documentaries in succession that I'm going to say the same thing I said for the last two that we covered, which is like we are really out here roaming the world with people appearing to be sane, but there's a lot of insanity going on up in people's minds. This was this was interesting because there's so many angles to this.
Many
Eh,
angles, I will say, and I think I said this about the last two documentaries that we watched. 3 1-hour episodes, I'm not sure if that's like a lot of the Netflix documentaries could have been a 1 hour TV special that they
mhm.
turn into 3 hours.
I'm beginning to think like they're trying to make that the standard. If you've noticed, all the documentaries for some reason are now just 3 episodes. I don't know when that became because sometimes we could just have a good old 1 hour, 30-minute documentary and be done with it. But they decided to break it into 3 episodes. So I think maybe they're trying to make it a thing.
I think the other part is like who's watching this episode by episode? Maybe people are, but like for something like this, you're just gonna sit there and watch it all at once for the most part. So I don't anyway.
It's funny you said that. I didn't. Because that's the thing. I think because they're factory producing these things, I don't think they're really putting. It's like they're phoning it in, and halfway through, I'm just like, oh, is this? Am I really that? They're not making it to the point where I'm invested. Let me put it that way. So I
But
feel like I
you
can take a break and then come back, especially
like
with Olympics on.
with Tell Me You Love Me, I'm sorry, Tell Them You Love Me. That was not multiple episodes. That was one like hour and a half thing, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the three that we've done recently that I was very very invested in the story.
Yep.
I think that a lot of it, I don't know if it's the way they choose to tell it. Anyway, what
Yeah, because no, you make a point because that's the thing. If you're doing Tell Them You Love Me and you're doing it like, okay, just one straight shot, you build it, you get to your story, you know how you're going to pace it. If you're building 3 episodes, you have to build this whole suspense thing so that you know where exactly you're going to end the episode for someone to click next and then get to the next one. Because when we find out, like, I guess this was supposed to be the, oh my God, a moment in this documentary, you have to build and build and build. And it was like what we found out next was so. And then they got that lady with the masked voice and undercover, and it's just like, really? But for someone like me, I don't know if you felt that way. I'm just like, what are we doing here? So it's having the opposite effect on me. But the core of the story is actually fascinating on its own. So I think it's the storytelling that's just a little bit lacking. And also, without the main character, it's already lacking a lot. I wish they could have got him. But I think, okay, to do everyone a favor, here's a summary of what this is about. This is about a man named Jonathan who is a sperm donor. He's based in the Netherlands, so most of the recipients are in the Netherlands before he goes worldwide. There's a law in that country where the max number of children you can have is like 25 because they expect like some families want to have same siblings and all that stuff or whatever. But it come to find out that this man has been donating and donating not only in the Netherlands, everywhere, and it looked like he may have fathered up to, well, in the documentary they say 600, but the title is The Man with 1,000 Kids, so
in the document, that
I
was the
don't
other thing. The documentary is like basically we know of 600, we think there might be 3,000, and then they named the doctor the man with 1,000 kids, which
because
is
that
neither of
has
those
more,
numbers.
it has more oomph. Imagine if it was a man with 600 kids. So that is it. And then the mother starts figuring out, which I do understand the concern because most of the women that were featured in this documentary were lesbians, so they needed help with having children. I think only one woman, she had a
Yeah,
husband because he had a vasectomy that couldn't be reversed. But one of them was a teacher, and through conversations, casual conversations, they come to find out that they have all the donors, and because they're in close proximity, no one's trying to have their kids commit incest. So that's where all this unravels, and then they try to stop him. And then the other part is that he also keeps telling all of them that they're the third person that is donating to, not like the 500th or 600th. So there, that creates a whole thing, and these mothers come together and they're trying to stop him from donating to kind of protect their children, which is where my conundrum is a with this whole thing. There is something that was said in the documentary where it was like what he's doing is morally wrong but is not legally wrong. um yes, you should only have 25 and all that kind of stuff, but if this man had like a cousin that he wanted to donate to, is that against the law?
I guess. And why a cousin are you
Oh,
using that
sorry,
as an example?
because sometimes people want to help their family members.
You mean like if he had let's take your example out a little bit further. You mean let's say he had a cousin who was in a partnership with another woman and they
Yes.
wanted to use his sperm for
Yes.
his cousin's partner
Yes.
to have a
Yes.
baby with. Yes.
Yes. Like a family member. I should have just said that. Yes, like a family member. Like he's well within his rights, right? Like I want to help my family member who may or may not be who may okay, let's go with who is aware that they've donated to a whole bunch of people. But yeah, I want this person to have my DNA and my cousin is willing to do it. Is that legally wrong? So that's where someone made that comment. And even in the past documentaries, what was that documentary we covered? The ESPN one with the sports, like technically he didn't do anything wrong legally, but it was wrong. And I feel like in some ways, that's where we are here. Like I know the mothers were upset that, oh, he needs to stop. Nobody wants to have 1,000 kids. But for me, the way I was looking at it was like maybe to prevent other people. But at this point, if he technically already has 1,000 children, isn't the damage done?
The damage is already done, but I think what it is about is disclosure and what
Okay.
people are entitled to know. If you are looking for a donor and you know that this donor has 3,000 kids, you might want to move on to somebody else. But he's not providing that information and they don't have access to that information. And that is where I think it go cuz I'm like in general, we don't want the government deciding who is allowed to have kids or who is not allowed. Like
Yeah.
people should have reproductive freedom and that applies I guess across the board. I mean, we
Yeah.
all wish that people would use their reproductive freedom wisely, but that's
Yeah.
not, it's not the government's job to tell you how many kids you can or cannot have. But
Yeah.
if I am deciding to have a kid with someone, I should have the right to know. And this goes, I mean, not just this guy. Like if you're dating someone and you might possibly get pregnant, you would like to know how many kids they have.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's where I fall with him, and that's where his because he lies. He lies. I mean, he lies in many, many, many ways. But if he was disclosing to these women, or when he was donating, he was disclosing how many he had, they might choose to go with another donor.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. It was just uh, not knowing how to regulate, but part of this goes back to Nana and I kind of talk about this on Love Island, where there's a huge UK, where there's a huge obsession with hair color and eye color. And a lot of these people seem to be drawn to this man because he had long, flowy blonde locks and blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where's the line between the preference and what is this? Because it's funny, there was a time, or was it an Andy Goman's book? He was talking about his daughter and he was like, oh, I just pray that she has blue eyes. And I'm like, he didn't say anything wrong, but I'm like, is there something weird about that?
Yeah, there's something weird. But when you start talking in that kind of way and you start going in that kind of direction, in the documentary where they get to the part where he's going to Kenya, they very, very briefly mention him saying he wanted to whiten Africa. And that's the
It wasn't him. It was one of the other super donors. I
thank
thought.
you for that correction. I think the idea still stands up. That's a
Yeah.
part of the documentary because Kyle Gordy, who is featured a little bit on this documentary, is another super donor, and he's also on Love in Paradise on TLC.
Ah, did not know that.
Yes. Yes, and it's the whole thing is the intent is not really stated as baldly, but there is a little bit of a white supremacist little bend to some of these super donors,
Hmm.
but like, they're not doing it alone.
They're not. I will say this. There is, and why maybe they had an audience over there is I do think there are some people who still, we've talked about it a little before, the colonial mentality, who still kind of would like their kids. I'm talking about the Africans maybe in Kenya, who still want their kids to have European, well, not European, but like white blood. They want their kid to be mixed with that, which is why I think that they had an audience. Like, look how they were willing to, like, put them up in a hotel, make it a vacation, and do all that. And we know what their intentions are. Their intentions come with a racist tint. It's just, it makes me sad that, on the other hand, some Africans are enabling that too by
Yeah.
creating a demand for them, you know? So it's just, I don't know how we can get rid of that, but that's why they're able to do what they want to do. But I was going to ask you for clarification. He was donating for free, right?
Yes. I mean, for free for the most part, or for the price, I guess, of accommodations. Because that's the other part with these Facebook groups. This is what I've learned from Kyle on 90 Day Fiance and then, digging into him a little. Some of these are sperm banks. Some of these are literally just Facebook groups where you just meet people, like they show on the documentary.
Yeah.
There's no third party. And then, the times where they offer to sleep with them instead of doing a sperm. Yeah. Um, you don't get paid for this.
Yeah, because it wasn't even a motivation. That's how you know, like, there's a mental angle to this. And when I say mental, I mean like all's not right there. It's just
Hmm.
like a world domination type thing. Because when they were saying it, when he was like, "Oh, I'll just hand over the sperm in the car and all that," I was like, "This is weird. Why not just do it in the same house as you're in, so no one has to drive way across the street?" That just seems like a lot of work. And then if it feels too good to be true, then it is too good to be true. I don't
The
know. That was a huge risk that they were taking.
I feel yeah, I don't quite understand the ones who are just like meeting these super donors on Facebook. Um Not that the sperm banks seem that reliable either, but I feel like there's a risk being taken there. And later on we find out that yeah, he I believe that story too because these people are weird. That there was an accomplice and they would mix their sperm together, give it to people to see whose genes won. Like so much weird shit going on when you're just getting sperm from some guy you met on Facebook.
And I will say this because when you watch these things, the common thing is like you have to get people when they're vulnerable, whether it's a cheating husband, whether it's a cult documentary or whatever. You're getting people at their most vulnerable state. So these are people who are so desperate to have children, and of course, like if you have to go through a sperm bank or anything, it is really expensive. So if someone comes to you and offers you something for free and you're at a vulnerable spot, I'm guessing it's just like, you know what, this is happening. But at the back of your mind is, I'm just saying, like, you have to kind of acknowledge, like, if it went this smoothly, something has to be wrong, especially with Facebook involved. No documentary that talks about bad things. Every documentary that talks about bad things, Facebook is always involved. The minute they mention Facebook, just know something bad is about to happen.
I would agree. I would agree. I don't understand how Facebook went from where we posted our college party pictures to now you can find yourself a whole sperm donor. I also was pretty confused by what seemed to be his desire to have relationships with some of the kids. I'm just like, but there's so many of them. But some of the moms are like, yeah, he was a presence in my child's life, not a father, but a presence.
So I've always said that there should be a name for women who want to keep having kids over and over again, even if it's at the point where their health is compromised. I don't know what it is, but I think it is some kind of trauma response. I'm not a doctor, I understand. And the examples are kind of like, maybe say, Alec Baldwin's wife. Don't get me wrong. I think everybody can have as many kids as you want or anything. But like when you decide like you want to have kids with a 60 something year old man in succession, how many do they have? Like six? And you're going back to back to back. Or James Van Der Beek's wife, the Dawson from Dawson's Creek. his wife has like 6 kids or something, and to the point where she's miscarrying and it's a danger to herself, but they still want to have more kids and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is that desire when you have like that many kids and you're putting your risk at health? What is that thing? I think there should be a name for it. I don't know if there's a name for it, but there's something or some science to all of that. I'm saying all this to think that there's also should be a name for the opposite spectrum where it's not a woman but it's a man, a la Nick Cannon. You just want to keep having kids for some reason. For he said he wanted a legacy and stuff. There is some psychological aspect to it that I'm not qualified to give, that I don't know, that I think Jonathan was going through also. And then you delude yourself into thinking that you can be there for them, but it's just impossible.
I think there's like a, I'm not sure it doesn't fit within other mental illnesses. When it comes to like grandiosity and I feel like there's got to be some sort of, I want to say low self esteem.
Mm,
Um, but I think to me it's about, or I don't understand it, but there seems to be an element of I want to I want to be everywhere. And through these children I can expand my empire, even if I don't, even if no one even knows that they're my kids. I
yeah,
know that I have all these kids out here who are, that they are part of me. And
yeah,
I'm with you. That has to be some sort of diagnosable mental illness. But it's just so interesting that in this modern age, that can be a thing. Like I'm sure there are guys who have done the Nick Cannon thing and just procreated everywhere.
yeah,
But with sperm banks and donations and all these other things, this is how the Jonathans and the Kyles get to exist in the world. They
yeah.
couldn't before.
So the only thing I would say is like instead of low self esteem, I think it's like some kind of not narcissist, but like inflated ego, maybe. Because there was a point in the documentary where his suggestion was like when the mothers were like, we don't want the kids to to commit incest or fall in love with each other or something like that, and he was like, well, they can make a symbol and they can identify each other, and then if they're on social media they could put that symbol and then they'll know that they're my spawn. So
You know,
so that's where I think he wanted to, what to your point, build an empire, and then he would be like, I have my own little kingdom where my kids and my people have some kind of, to the point where they need an identifier. Like, you guys have a social security number, I have a fucking symbol, you know? And you have to carry a card. And then when you go on a date, you're like, Jonathan, are you a J?
it's a
So,
three generation problem. Because at first it's like, okay, the kids can't date. Then when they start having kids, they have to be careful not to be running into their first cousins.
yeah,
By the time you get to second cousins, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and marry each other. Um, but I felt so bad for all of the mothers
yeah,
and the parents. I on one hand I was like, you should do your due diligence. On the other hand, like you said, when you find people at their most vulnerable, that's how you can really screw them.
yeah,
You will have to worry about this for the rest of your life. You will, right now the kids are young. You will have to explain to them the minute they can start dating.
yeah.
Oh, you might have, that is devastating.
Yeah. And to think that it just doesn't stop at the Netherlands, that this man just started going to different places. I'm telling you guys, if someone tells you their job is day trading or crypto, they don't got no job. Like, to me, it's just an indicator that I am in between jobs right now. Like, they subpoenaed this man and he still traveled all the way. How are you able to be subpoenaed and you're still able to leave the country? How is that
But
possible?
that's the Dutch court system.
Ugh, that's crazy.
I don't
But
know. I
yeah,
mean, not that I would know for the US court system either, but I was like, I definitely don't
yeah,
know the Dutch one.
yeah. But yeah, just going around and traveling the country. Thank you for watching my video blog. and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's not just like you said, not just three generations, not just the Netherlands, but also like now you have to worry. I think he touched every continent, almost all. So even if you travel, you now have to be worried about it. I think the other aspect is, yes, maybe the parents themselves could not do complete due diligence, but the sperm banks. I kept wondering, is there something they could have done? Like, because at some point, I honestly thought the twist was going to be that the sperm banks were in on it, not that these guys were mixing their sperm and competing for who had the highest, which in itself, guys, is so disgusting. Like, that is so unfair to these people who thought they were getting one thing and you have a competition going on. And yeah, I'm just like the sperm banks. I think they have money because if you go back to the ones that were in Africa, they make them donate, and they said they had to donate 200 straws because there was a person who was. Do you think the undercover person spilling is the Love in Paradise guy?
No,
Okay.
because he's out there still doing this.
Okay. So, yeah, they were like, you have to produce 200 straws and all that stuff. And I'm just like, that in itself, isn't that against the law? Because that's how many kids, you know? So, in some way, I think they're in cahoots, but maybe there just wasn't enough facts to call them out.
I just But then how much due diligence are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, are they taking an ID every time? Are they cross-referencing with a name? Because it sounded like he just kept on going in there with different names and different whatevers, and he could just keep on making new straws. And
Shouldn't they have like samples that they can cross reference DNA with? Maybe, like, do we have you in the system? Like, shouldn't everyone have like a data bank, and then when you get the sperm you cross reference like how many is out there? Don't you think?
I just, there should be a data bank. There should be a world. The thing is, though, I bet you they can only do it right now, country to country, even if they could do, because there needs to be a worldwide one.
Yeah, but even if they did country to country, they still would have caught him. 25 is the max, you know? So it's just unfortunate. I mean, he got stopped. You know, they had to contact an advocate in the US who also was a victim, so to speak, because her fertility doctor used his own sperm and not the one her parents brought in. And so she gave them advice, did what they needed to do, and the judge ruled in their favor. But
That was very interesting. And I thought that it was interesting to bring her in because I feel like her case is so completely different from theirs.
I think they brought her in because she suddenly that is her line of work now. But that was just her backstory. But now she features or helps in all those kind of type cases, I guess. Was my understanding, but I don't know. Yeah.
I liked her. I'm glad they found somebody to help them. I thought the equivalence between her situation and their situation is not quite there.
It's not, but since it's her career now, wouldn't she have more insight? Like, it's not her personal story, but she has more insights into things like that because now she works with all different kind of cases.
True, true.
Yeah. Um a part where the documentary fell short for me. What was the point of Patricia? This is what I mean by they're trying to break down the episode, they're trying to build this whole thing and plot twist and all that. And Patricia sits down and starts being so weird, talking about, oh, he was my friend and we got to know him. We have conversations, we talk every day. And it's one of those things where she sits for how long, she talks for how long, but we got nothing out of her.
I
Instead,
kept on waiting for the bomb to drop.
yeah, and then she just starts with a weird shit talking about he comes in and then he told us to do the natural way, which is a whole other thing. Like his obsession with wanting to do it the natural way. And she's like, "Oh, when we're there, I'll just give him chocolate milk and cookies because he was so young." And I'm like, if this doesn't sound like, I mean, we know more, but it sounded like grooming and it just sounded gross.
It sounded gross. I feel like that's another huge red flag with a donor when they're like, let's do this the natural way instead of the way that we originally agreed on. But yes, I kept on waiting for Patricia to tell us something new, and it just sounded like I thought what was interesting is like how many tries it took for her, and then it still didn't work. Then he moved her on to somebody else. I thought that was the insight that she was there to offer is that there was a team or there is people inclusion.
It's just even the way she said it casually. She was like, after so many tries, when it didn't work, that's when I got swapped to Leon. I'm like, ma'am,
Were you in a relationship?
ma'am. So, yeah, I don't think they did a really good job in tying that story very well together because I still don't know if, do we know if she had a kid at the
I
end?
don't think she did.
Yeah, I don't know if she still talks to him. Like, are you not mad that they were swapping? Like, is he still your friend? Do you have any insight as to why he was doing what he did? No, we don't know. So I don't know what her point was really and truly.
Yeah, yeah. She sound. It's like she made herself look worse by coming on this thing.
Yeah, yeah, there really was no anything to that. But, I just want to point out though, like in everything that we've always covered, it's so sad, but unfortunately, there is always the racism aspect of it. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but when whoever one of the donors was like, I want to bleach Africa. Like, why do people hate us so much? That's all I want to know.
Well, it's funny because you're like, why do people hate us so much? And my first thought is, why do we hate ourselves so much that we imported these things?
I mean, there's that too. There is that too. But, yeah, so overall, I think like it was a fascinating documentary and a fascinating topic, and we have seen some variation of this. Netflix had that documentary, The Father, I think it was called, The Fertility Doctor. I don't even know. Now that I think about it, I think the American lady that they brought in might have been featured
In
in
that
that
one,
documentary. Yeah, because that's the one where even when they brought the sperm, yeah, there was a family where she brought the sperm, her husband's sperm, and he refused to use that. He'd rather go to the next room and ejaculate and use his. So that was the whole thing. And even then, there was nothing to charge him. Again, there's nothing to charge him for. He got away with it. So, I'm just sick and tired of all these loopholes. Like something that seems so glaringly wrong, but I guess it's because the justice system probably had faith in humanity. Like, nah, you're not gonna do that. But here we are. And now we have to account for that. Now.
I will. The law can never keep up with technology,
Mm,
and that's really what it is. They haven't written the law yet because the technology or the methods haven't caught up yet.
yeah.
So I wonder, because with the guy, with the doctors who have used their own sperm, because there have been multiple, I believe now that's part of the advocacy work for the woman who's on this documentary is making it to where it is illegal to do that now. It just
Yeah.
wasn't before because we hadn't caught anybody. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess like I said, like overall, fascinating topic, not executed the best, but it's kind of scary though. It's kind of scary. Oh, one last thing, I did find like all the people who were interviewed, I found them to be very animated. But I don't know if it's because like English is not their first. They spoke very good English. It's not that. So maybe it just came off that way. But I found them to be very dramatic, very like animated, and the way they told the story was not like regular conversation. It was just like a build up and like they were pissed off and things like that. So it was more like you're watching a play with dramatic effect. Anything else?
no, it was a doozy.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys, once again, tell us what you think of the man with 1,000 kids who probably has 600 or 3,000 kids, but that's neither here nor there. So you can find us to tell us your thoughts on Instagram and Twitter at AltarCallMAFS. That's ALTARCALLMAFS. Look forward to hearing from you.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And looking forward to talking about Love is Blind UK. So look out for that in a few weeks. Bye, guys.
Bye.